What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
What kind of ignorant shit is that?
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
You idiot, you fool!
Hey, dummy!
This is the Ignorance is Blessed podcast.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Hey, idiots, I'm here. I'm back. I forgot to warn my guests that I call my listeners idiots, but there you go. You guys, I have a very exciting guest with us today. I know some of you who are in the Facebook group, don't forget to join so you can hear who's coming on soon, are also very excited about this guest. Please welcome to the show the founding father of escape rooms, Mr. Nate Martin. Hi, Nate. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, to you and to the idiots?
Yay, I'm so good. And it's so good to have you. I'm so excited and I have so many questions. So I'm kind of just like geared up and want to dive in and ask you a million things.
We'll get to all of them more. It's gonna be super awesome.
Well, first of all, let's just start off with, so you are a co-founder, CEO of Puzzle Break, which was the first American escape room company. My mind is just blown. I'm a big dork for escape rooms. I'm too competitive.
Oh, that's so wonderful to hear.
I mean, it's a miracle I haven't lost friends over my the aggression with which I want to win escape rooms. And it's probably just more of a testament to my overall need to escape from things in general. But I want to start with this. Were escape rooms a thing at all when you came up with them? Or did you bring them to America?
So, kind of all of the above. So, you can draw a straight line backwards from all modern escape rooms to certain types of video games, all the way back to the 1970s. They have several kind of, they didn't look exactly the same. They certainly didn't have any kind of graphics. They were called different things like MUDs, multi-user dungeons, games like Adventure, all the way through the graphical point and click adventures of the 90s that I kind of grew up with. And they weren't escape rooms, but you were doing the same thing that you do in escape rooms, like in games like Myst and Grim Fandango and a lot of these games in that time. And so these were like my favorite thing ever for a lot of years. And then I fast forward, we can come back to this. I was a software executive and I did not love my job very much. And then kind of caught wind of, hey, like in Japan and Budapest of all places, they're like, they are doing these video games in real life, like in basements. And I was like, that sounds so cool. That would go so well in Seattle. Like, I went to college in Seattle and I'm in Seattle now. And I was talking to my friend and future co-founder, is like somebody should, it's going to do so good if somebody would have put this in Seattle. We weren't thinking about like an American Revolution or anything, but like, this doesn't exist here.
You were just like, we should do just one here.
Yeah. And honestly, I was like, frankly, for me, like, this isn't even for business or to even get out of my job. Like, I just want to play something like that.
So were you kind of like, oh, maybe we could just do this with friends or something?
Well, we were like, we're gonna make this kind of like a, I don't know, like a half-assed business, for lack of a better thing. And so we're like, well, go to Craigslist. How much does rent cost for a place to put in an escape room? We don't know. And in the Capitol Hill neighborhood of Seattle, which is basically the coolest place, like there's this windowless basement. No one would ever want this space for anything. It was super affordable.
Surprise.
And we're like, yeah. And me and my future co-founder were like, yeah, well, we'll see what we'll do. And then, like, quote unquote, the rest is history.
Man. And so this was like 2013, 2014?
2013, yeah.
Man, a windowless basement. Man.
Oh, super humid. Just like we walked in, like, what was here? Who on earth would want this space?
And they're like,
now it's a different. Yeah, but like then it was kind of hard to find. You have to pass by like underground bookstores that don't even have signs. It was super weird. Communist newsletter, like our next door neighbor. It was amazing.
Wow. I mean, was there a theme for this one? Did having all that weird stuff around it kind of add an allure, you feel like?
Oh, it super did. And kind of the thing was, our first theme was all astronomy based.
Yeah.
But like in keeping to like there's no I mean, now there kind of are, but like, there's no like how to start an escape room business. Like this didn't even exist.
Yeah.
So we just were figuring out as we go. We made a ton of mistakes. So we kept the theme a secret. The idea was like, come to this escape room. Like people don't even know what that is. And then like it would reveal itself to be like, oh, the answer to that puzzle is astronomy related. What are you working on? I bet it's astronomy related. And like it would reveal itself.
And
now,
so
like, you can't get away with that
puzzle.
now.
No, no, you have to sell what it is. People, I mean, I don't know how you got away with tricking people into coming to a basement. No, just come. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And no one knew it in a escape
This is the
room
thing
was.
in Europe. It's the hottest thing. Give me $30.
Yeah, people are like, I went to Berlin once. Let's find out what happens. That's exciting. I love this. I want to ask, what was it like? Those initial, like when you launched the escape room, trying to explain escape rooms to people when they weren't a thing.
Oh my God. It was even to this day, frankly, we've been at this for 10 years. I'm an elder statesman. I got my foot half out the door. I can't do a great job of this. And you'd think I could. It's just, you're going to say kind of now as I did then, you're going to be finding clues, solving puzzles, which reveal more clues and more puzzles, and ultimately a final puzzle to escape the room. And like now, there's all sorts of wonderful narratives of you're trying to defuse a bomb or complete a heist. Yeah, exactly. But then it was like, we are locking this door and good luck getting out of the room. And I think that might have been part of the allure. And yeah, I really truly like, we were putting up flyers and they were very mysterious. It was just, I think that was like, it was in keeping with the vibe of, I would say, both the Capitol Hill neighborhood of Seattle, but just what young people were doing is like, what the hell is that? That sounds so cool. I don't know what that is. Let's grab some friends and do it. And yeah, that initial thing was hard, but it worked. It
obviously worked. Yeah. That's so funny. Man, well, you mentioned like, you obviously had to trial and error through it. Is there anything that sticks out now that like you tried that was a really bad idea that you could never make work?
Oh man, that is a really good question. There's like, what leaps to mind are a lot of the business decisions that I made over the years. I have no formal training in, I don't have an MBA. My background is in software, in video games. So I made all manner of blunder in pivots from a business side. As for like the game side, we at this point, I have played personally as a super fan of this, a little over 500 escape rooms in over a dozen countries. Wow. And I have seen a lot of like, this doesn't work, or, oh my God, this works so well.
Yeah. Have you seen stuff that you're like, oh, I never would have thought of that? That's great.
Well, yeah. So like my go-to thing, I just love this so much, is when you go to Europe, there's just no safety standards. And I don't know what, like,
I did one in
like,
Scotland.
Maybe there are, and they're just not enforced.
Yeah.
But like my absolute favorite arc of anything that I've ever played, and this is super old now, I don't know if it's still around, and like there's a lot of also great stuff, but it mirrored the journey of dying. Like you start off in like a ambulance situation.
Whoa.
And then like you go to hell, and then like you escape hell, and then you're in heaven. It's like, this is also not good. And then you escape and
come back,
whatever. But that first transition from the ambulance to the second chamber is I don't know the term, but like in a morgue, when they have the drawer and your body's in there.
Yeah, like a mortuary.
Morgue. You physically get in there and like close in, and then like it like gets you to, and like any one iota of that, like a fire marshal in the United States will execute you. But like we're just doing it.
You'd actually go to hell.
Yeah.
That's so funny. It's also, I feel like, did you going into a situation like that? Because I feel like if I went to an escape room like that, I feel like I'd have the thought of, coming from having done, probably, American ones. Like, I think maybe we're supposed to go in here, but that seems like can't be what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, no, and you talked about like ending friendships. You usually got somebody on your team that's like, out of the way, nerds, I'm getting into that coffin right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's not right, just leave me in there to die.
Exactly. So like it's good energy.
I mean, it's so fun. Did you feel like a lot of your experience in software? So you were specifically working in video games before?
Yeah, I went to college at the DigiPen Institute of Technology, and 5 viewers of this know what that is. It's a video game college. But then I was in electronic arts, and it wasn't very fun. But yeah, to kind of step on your question, I am not the primary, or not the. It's my co-founder that is the primary creative force, and she comes from a background of she's a PhD in classics and stories from out throughout the ages.
Oh wow!
And so I'm like the guardrails, I suppose.
She needed your technical. She's like
we make a
that
very
sounds
good,
like a great team. Someone
it really is, and
understanding strategy a lot, and then someone with like the idea for big arcs. And
there's no way that we would have had a fraction of the success like on our individual own without
without each
other.
When you first got into, before escape rooms, when you first got into the video game world, like what motivated you to take that route, and was it what you thought it would be? It sounds like it wasn't, but
well, so I don't know. Here I speak with a professional comedian who followed your dreams and just gone into like the great unknown. And just truly, I don't know if there is
the escape room of life,
a better like example of like, fuck it all. I am just going into and doing what I want. I had a very pragmatic, like I remember I was in like 10th grade, and there was some Consumer Reports magazine that showed in front of my desk, and it was like the highest paying.
I'm sorry, I'm just the idea of a 10th grader being like, I'm reading the Consumer Report.
I don't what was going on. This is a great, I have no idea. And it was just sorted by college major. What is your expected like starting salary and like salary after 10 years? Computer science was like number 1 or number 2. I enjoyed programming in like the one class. I went to a tiny high school in Pennsylvania. I was like, I like this. I like video games. You can program video games, and it's like number 2 on the salary list. That's great.
Sign me up.
Sorted. I will. That's what my career is going to be. And turns out I'm actually quite bad at programming. I went to college like pretty inflated.
You're like, boy, that HTML really put me on a high horse.
Oh my gosh, yes, you were there. So, like I'm like, this is fun, this is good, and like my college was brutally hard, at least at the time, and I went to school with these absolute murderers, and I looked around and be like, maybe not for me. And like I went into product management basically, and I was an executive there, but it turns out I'm not the best programmer. Was a product manager, that was fine. But then like when the escape room thing came along,
when you find something you're like really excited about, it changes.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it takes some people
to tell you that.
to do that. Yeah. It's like, I felt very lucky that I knew what I wanted to do. And then it took me a while to go, I could actually like try to do that, which was still insane. But for some people, they're, it's like, it kind of shows itself to you. And it's cool that this.
Yeah. But no, make no mistake. It was just, I remember like even how that table looked and being like, great, I don't have to worry about life ever again. I've just got this all sorted. And it was like, I don't know, if I hadn't seen that article, who the hell knows?
Thank goodness you did. It maybe led you to this, which I'm a big fan of. Oh, for sure. Do you, oh crap. Damn my ADHD. Have you ever done an escape room you couldn't get out of?
Oh, yeah. And now we're at the point, and this is, again, there's elements of inflated self-worth here, but there are certain games out there that are famously difficult.
Are there any that nobody has escaped from?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that they exist, but like they wouldn't be commercially viable. Like going back to like the mistakes, I know that for a minute there was a model where people would design really, really hard escape rooms, and customers would come in and inevitably fail. The idea being that the customer would be so invested in the experience that they would pay and come back and like get through the halfway thing. And this, I guess, quote unquote, makes sense because our business model is such a weird one that you can do our experiences kind of once and then that's it.
And you're like, well, that's that.
But yeah, for the most part, whenever I play a room, and I can't get out, it's usually pretty overtuned or not tuned properly, or just frankly not a very good room. There are probably exceptions, but it's I guess decreasingly common as I have my level of experience, but certainly starting out, like this is a learned skill. It's not really
Yeah.
commentary on how smart you are. It's commentary on how like much
It's
you've
a
done
certain,
in
it's almost
escape
like a
rooms.
muscle. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like you're developing a specific skill because you can
Mhm.
feel yourself even in one escape room, in my experience, like you kind of feel yourself like starting to get it. And you're like, oh,
Oh yeah,
okay,
the
this
very
is it.
first one. If we could all go back, be like, what the hell is this? Is this like this paint splotch a clue? Like you just have no frame of reference. But then
Yeah,
you
you're
get
like, no, it's just an old basement and that's there.
it's a windowless basement.
Yeah. And I wonder how many people went into your escape room and were like, oh God, am I going to die in here? And they're like, was this a trick? And they're harvesting organs.
Jessica, that is a non-zero number you're discussing.
um, do you, or like, did you, how much of the design of escape rooms did you have a hand in?
It varies.
Or how many of them, I guess?
Well, over the years we've done dozens.
Okay.
And
Like, do you guys get brought in to consult on other ones?
we sometimes
Okay.
my rates are pretty high, so it's we well one famously we do a lot of escape rooms on Royal Caribbean cruise ships. I don't know if that
Oh,
revealed itself in your research, but
I love
that's
that.
that's a big huge thing of like the Puzzle Break was our show, but whenever you do a room on a cruise ship, like that's a team of dozens or hundreds working on all sorts of components.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and so for like that, we play a much smaller role of a much larger thing. But yeah, my best, I guess, description of my role is, as I say, guardrails, where when you get people who are really passionate about the audio or really passionate about the story or really passionate about the physical builds, and then they go crazy in a way that I know is not going to
You're like,
be
we
in
gotta rein
service
it
to the
in.
experience. Yeah, exactly. And then, so I guess Dr. Buzzkill is.
I was just gonna
like
say, so you're
increasingly-
the fun police?
I really kind of am in a way that is perverse, but is necessary.
You're like,
As
I
most
love your
buzzkills will tell.
enthusiasm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna fail.
Mhm.
You need to just pull back a little.
And that's that's not easy messaging to send of like, oh man, I love where your head's at, but like that's a terrible idea, and let me tell you why.
Yeah. And you're like, but let me just give you the evidence because you want your room to succeed. Is there like or has there ever been talks about there being a like a rating system in terms of the difficulty? Do people like slap those on just at their own regard?
Yes and yes. It's great. This is, I mean, we have with respect to the time of your viewers, limited amount of time, but like this by itself should be studied because like movies started at one point. George Miller, how you pronounce his name, invented movies. And then at one point, movie criticism came about. And like, what the hell does that look like?
Oh, God.
We're in the wild friggin' West of, there are critics out there that are just not really full-time. They're not writing for the Chicago Sun-Times. These are just
not.
super fans.
Yeah.
But like, they're super fans. And so you often, like, it's super valuable, interesting thing to read this person's take on this or this person's take on this. But sometimes you don't want to know what Roger Ebert thinks about a movie. You want to know what like your buddy thinks about the movie. But there is no Rotten Tomatoes. It's all coming together as escape rooms continue to grow. But I don't know if you experience this as a sole proprietor of a subjective product.
Yeah.
But criticism is hard to like digest and
I hate it. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so painful.
So, I subjectively do my best to, pay attention to feedback and integrate these things. But it's a whole thing to
hear it
I
from
guess
all different angles, I'm sure.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
It's so subjective.
It really truly is. And sometimes there's nuggets of truth. It'd be very, very hard to hear. And again, it's coming from very disparate sources of super fans that have never thought about how to message these things, all the way through people who fancy themselves as the next Roger Ebert and are in fact very, very good at what they do. But like, there is no standardization or anything like that. And like, what this is going to look like in not even 10 years, but like 3 years is crazy to think about.
Yeah, that's so funny because that's like my next question is like, what does the future look like? But also I just want to comment on that it's because of the subjectivity of an escape room, because it's like, in theory, I would assume you're trying to appeal to like any and all people who would enjoy this kind of experience. But then I mean, to call something easy or hard is such a personal, when it's dealing with like logic and puzzle solving, it's like, well, what's hard to me, it might be easy to somebody else. Or when I'm like, well, this is such an easy room, and then someone's like struggling and like, again, I don't know any of the answers.
It's so, I mean, you're completely right. And then, yes, and how do you rate goodness of something? I mean, and this goes to everything of like somebody in your audience be like, this is the funniest person that I've ever seen, versus another, and the super valid, but then another person with a different background, a different value system, and different
Being like, I hate
sense of humor, be like, oh, she is the worst. And
and she's ugly. Those are mine.
yes,
that's my
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of that.
You're like, well, I don't think we needed to say that, but thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, I was like, this is a really good escape room, but I can detect that the people working there were very terrible people who don't look very good.
Yeah, but I didn't like how ugly the staff was. I mean,
2 stars.
I know it's like, should it be a star system? Should it be a 2
and
locks?
Yeah, and like there's lots of blogs out there kind of trying to establish something, but this is kind of where I reach my limit of it. It used to be back in the first years, I had absolute comprehensive understanding. I knew everyone in the business. I knew every game that existed, and when they added new games, and I knew all of this stuff. But it's grown beyond what one person can reasonably. Yeah, exactly. So I guess.
Do you have any idea how many escape rooms there are? Sorry to interrupt you.
No, thousands. There was certainly a big contraction with COVID, and some consolidation. But like things are rebounding more quickly than I anticipated, more quickly than a lot of people anticipated. So we're growing again. But no, that's, I guess, the point. Like, how many escape rooms are there? That's not a number that you can easily find. Like, you have to go to some of these blogs to be like, yes, I've manually tracked this. There's nothing, which is crazy for something like this.
Yeah, to just like go from, one little thing in Seattle to be like, we have no idea how many there are, or
and how would we even find that beyond like just counting and calling numbers? That's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, and it's because I mean, even the information that's out there, like you said, because of COVID, which we should definitely talk about. It's what's popped up new, what went away. When COVID hit, were you like, oh shit?
Yes. I was on a couch on the other side of this wall, like on my phone, looking at like the governor shutting everything down, being like, okay, well, this is a bit of a bummer.
And we had a good run.
It's like what? So for us specifically, and we can build on this or quickly move on. More than most, my company Puzzle Break did a lot of corporate business, which is a whole separate conversation. But we really leaned into that because that's where a lot of our revenue was from.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we did well before COVID were portable escape rooms. You got a big old company meeting and you can't possibly fit in we were out of the Capitol basement at this point, but you can't come with your company meeting to one little thing. So we would go and take these scalable things that were playable.
Take over a conference room or
like a hotel ballroom or a stadium, stuff like this. So it would scale up or down. COVID happens. We're like, okay, well, this is a Kafka-esque nightmare. Why don't we try taking one of the portable experiences? It could go online pretty easily. We could spend probably like a day or two converting this into something that people could do over Zoom. Ooh. And so I want to say March 16, 2020, that was D-Day.
Yeah.
And by April, 1 month later, we had launched our first virtual escape room.
Wow.
But we had this huge head start because we had done this portable stuff. And then like it was unreal. I like to joke that I have gotten generationally lucky twice. One with the physical escape rooms in 2013, but our virtual stuff in 2020 exploded. And we had a catalog to build on, and kind of to your point about like mistake. At this point, if you hold a gun to my head and put a blindfold on, I can make a pretty good escape room in 10 seconds. Like this is what we do.
It's what.
But with the virtual stuff, we had to like relearn a ton of stuff because what works in real life doesn't work at all online, and a lot of cool things that you can do online you can't ever do in person.
Yeah, in person.
So we figured it out. But like COVID was a nightmare, of course, and it's super tragic for like a lot of societal reasons, of course.
Yeah.
And a lot of escape rooms out there just imploded, and they struggled, but we actually thrived in a way that we are very lucky to have been in that position.
Do you think that some of your previous experience as a fan of games and a software engineer helped with your ability to like make that pivot so quickly?
Maybe. Honestly, it's always been our willingness to just try some shit and hope and be willing to like, that didn't work, and just like, let's try something else. And like the video game thing, of course, helped, and we were able to move more quickly because of that. And I knew, it's also a testament again to my co-founder for, being able to like pick up some Unity development real quick. And even though that's in my wheelhouse, is whatever. But yeah, none of this would happen if we didn't just try something dumb and just see how it goes and then go from there.
And then go for, I mean, what a metaphor for life, right? It's just like, try the dumb thing, see what happens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, often we look very stupid. Part of my success as a business person is my willingness in a meeting to be like, hey, here's the world's dumbest question that I definitely should know. And I should pretend like I know, but like, I'm not. I'm going to be like, walk right into that trap. And like, that's really important, both in life and for the success of our business at every step of the way.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the whole premise of this podcast. Is
Like,
why are we so concerned with looking cool that you actually don't know what's going on? Because you're like, I don't want people to know I don't know, but I definitely don't know. And now because I haven't asked, I'll never know.
Yeah, and it's people love. I mean, that's the whole thing. The whole energy is like, yeah, let me tell you about this thing that I know and that you don't know.
Yeah,
And
people
love
like
it.
sharing.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
It's so funny the amount of times, like, and it became more obvious and more apparent when I started doing the podcast, but like the amount of times that I've gone, I have a stupid question, and had the person enthusiastically like give me an answer, but not only that, go, actually, that's a really good question. And you're like, oh, so sometimes the thing that you think is obvious is actually something that more people probably have asked or more people would like to ask. And I just think that's really great. Failing upward, I guess, is the whole.
Sure.
Failing
forward.
Yeah. Taking the risk of looking dumb is the only way to get,
Yeah. If the viewers take away nothing from our conversation, just embrace it. Like we're all really dumb. And the more we lean into it. Yeah.
Yeah. But you can't get less dumb if you don't try.
Well said. That's actually the working title of my memoirs. Thank you for that.
As far as the future of escape rooms, I know we briefly touched on it, but do you have any ideas or dreams or thoughts of things you would like to see for like the expansion of escape rooms?
So, I got a subjective answer and an objective answer.
Okay.
Subjective for me, I just like the puzzles. I like solving the stuff and feeling smart. I have never played a room personally. I've never played a room and be like, wow, what a moving story. What a touching narrative. It's never happened once. Yeah. Be like, just shut up. Like skip. I mean, what's the next puzzle? I like more puzzle focused stuff. But to the actual segue to the objective answer is you touched on this earlier, where from just a business perspective, for years and years, we make these things, me and my peers in the space, as universally accessible as possible. We want everybody to have fun and everybody to come give us their money. Yeah. And as a result, you get fairly standardized, normalized experiences, which are, there's many, I've played hundreds, literally. I love them. But with every passing day, I hope to see, and I believe we are seeing, more segmentation, more niche, more fragmentation, where you're going to have, this game is for kids. This game is for dumbasses. This game is for story lovers. This game is for puzzle lovers. And like, that's great. And like how you communicate that is a whole public education component. But what I truly think is going to be, and maybe this one's online, this one's in person, and this one's big, this one's small, this one's big budget, this one's small budget, is now that most people know what escape rooms are. By the way, to your earlier point, that used to be the first thing I would ask. It'd be like, do you guys know what an escape room is? And used to be, everyone said no, and now that's a joke. Everyone, of course, knows them.
Yeah. As
that increasingly permeates society, we're going to see more specialized stuff, and I'm really excited about it. It's like people are like, yeah, I hate puzzles. I'm really here for the story. I can't wait to tell you this. I'm going to segue away from this. You can rein me right back in. A couple years ago, I spoke at a
actually, can we take a quick break and then
let's do it.
You'll do the speaking or talk about your speaking at a thing. Okay, and we're back. Sorry. A couple years ago, you spoke at a thing. I wanted to just give that quick commercial break, but
Of course. No, I hope that everyone buys that product or service. I was on a panel discussion at the Sundance Film Festival, and it was on the future of storytelling.
wow.
And it was me and like a haunted house guy and an immersive, like
Immersive theater.
Immersive. Yes, thank you. That's the
Oh,
best
it's so
word.
funny because this is where my brain was going when you were talking about the stories. I was like,
Oh my God.
this
And that's
needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the term, which I wouldn't say I'm trying to invent, but like it doesn't really exist as far as I can tell, is what I'm calling is asymmetrical storytelling. When you watch a movie in a crowded movie theater, you are seeing the exact same movie as every single other person there. Barbie, 1 billion humans saw the exact same movie, and they have lots of different takes on it and different interpretations in their brain, and like they loved it to differing degrees, but they all saw the same exact frames with the exact same content.
I'm getting so excited about
when
what
you
you're
do immersive theater or an escape room, every single person has a different experience. They're looking at different things, they're experiencing things at different times in different ways, and frankly only a part of the experience. And so like the future of like what escape rooms look like, I think really leans into, again, what I'm calling asymmetrical storytelling. And perhaps somebody in the comments is like, hey, dumbass, Professor so-and-so invented this 10 years ago, and this is what it's called. I don't know if there's a better term for this. And it makes for some really exciting kind of what I call design space, but like storytelling modality for creative minds to, lean into unforgettable experiences, stuff like Sleep No More in New York and things like that are just people talk about for the rest of their lives. And it's really, really exciting to be a part of that.
Oh, wow. That sounds exciting to like just really lean into man. I have a friend I want to introduce you to because I think he's got some really good ideas about.
Well, you're in, correct me if I'm wrong, you're in Los Angeles, right?
I'm in Los Angeles. Yes.
You're ground zero. It is I was in San Francisco for some years, and like you could feel the tech just in the air. Just every single person is inventing something that's going to change the world. LA, that's what this is. It's just every single person is like, hey, I don't have 3 nickels to rub together, but I am working in my head a story that is going to change the world. No, like it will actually change. I'm not saying they have the great idea, but like it will actually mature into something that we'll look back on and be like, that came out of LA.
Oh, I mean, God, I hope so. Give me some reason to still be here. Yeah, no, I have a friend that I used to do some live streaming projects with, who is just a big video game lover, but he's worked in the video producing space for years, and we've just sat around and got high, frankly, and like talked about like we've invented board games out loud and never gone forward with them, or like he's got these really great ideas for incorporating like VR in an immersive experience. And
I didn't even touch on that, but for sure, like that opens up so much space too.
Yeah, I'm curious to see like with things like the meta universe, or like how Oculus works in VR, how that might like
and this, I'm going to segue away. We're going to segue right back. I couldn't be more like self-satisfied with my professional succce. I'm so over the moon with how things have gone.
That's
well, thank
wonderful
you
that you can celebrate that.
Thank you, but my old college roommate, this motherfucker, just casually invented a 3D sculpting VR thing called Tilt Brush, which he just casually sold to Google, which is now casually used by billions of people. It's like, I will never be able to top this, man. And then you organically in this conversation without prompting just like brought up his success. So shout out to Patrick and Tilt Brush for haunting my success no matter where I go.
I brought you here to try to get to Patrick, is the truth. No, that's that's amazing that you were college roommates and you're both like crushing it. I mean, my college roommate works in HR and I'm a professional clown who can't say the word professional, apparently. So you're doing great.
well, thank you. But I not to segue away, but like how we like found, I was on Facebook, and I'm a big fan of comedy and stand-up. Yeah. And I get served reels on Facebook all the time.
It's working.
And yeah, no, you're doing your job. I have no envy for the work that you do with the algorithm, but like I saw
It's
a
hell.
bit that you did. I'm like, I want to be friends with this person. Like, I must know more about this person. Go to your Twitter, find this thing. It's like, we must discuss these things. I'm so happy that
Yes.
we're having this conversation. And so, yeah, no, you're killing it much more than me or Patrick are, because
Oh,
we
well,
sold out. You're doing the dream.
I mean, I'm still doing the Facebook Reels, so I'm on the verge of selling out. Hopefully.
Well said.
Just feeding the monster. But no, I that was my hope with social media, that I'm like, you just never know if I'm like, this post's going to go into a void, because sometimes they do. And it's been really cool getting the responses I've gotten. But it also is funny that, like, boy, did some people who really seem to not have anything to say reply to that. And not to be rude, but man, they really just didn't even highlight anything in their lives. I'm like, what, this isn't a census. What are we doing here? And for those who don't know, I in case anyone's not aware, which I'm sure I'll have said it by now in some episode, but I do, pinned on all my social media profiles, have a survey form you can fill out if you are interested in being a guest. So just putting a little shout out in there. Sorry, you were about to say something.
No, I once saw an interview with Ethan Hawke, and I had never thought about this before. I'm sure you think about this frequently. And he says, I can never have another first impression. Every single person that I meet has a relationship with me, and I don't have a relationship with this person. And again, with the asymmetry, it's impossible for him to like be balanced in like that first thing. And obviously, celebrities can form meaningful relationships, but like that's something that you got to deal with that I do not have envy about at all.
Oh yeah, and that's a thing that I think me and all of my friends, we really think about, especially the more successful you get, because things are, I've on an uphill. Every year's better than the last, and it's finally starting to, all the like pots are starting to boil and all those things. But like,
congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm very grateful. We'll see. It's a roller coaster. I know that's how success is up and down.
Yeah, not to interrupt your point, but to shower you with some praise. You've earned it. Like the amount of work that you like, forget even like your content, like not to like diminish the material,
Please don't forget
but like
my content. I'm just kidding.
But like the effort for this kind of podcast, the social media presence, the business of the comedy, I get like my heart palpitates just even thinking about that kind of thing.
Oh,
and
it's hell.
you and your friends putting in the work every single day, like you earn the success.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, because it is like a lot of work, and I think that's the thing that happens for most people. I think the more like technology has grown and people have their independent podcast and talk more about their lives, it's becoming more accessible for people to know the behind the scenes. But that whole like overnight success after 10, 20 years, where people just go, they just showed up, and you're like, I've been working my ass off for so long.
No, and like my least favorite thing about what I have done is the other stuff. And the search engine optimization, Christ almighty, if I could just never hear that ever again in my life. And I've had an organization around me to help tackle these challenges. A lot of comedians is like, here, it's just me in the world, and like my agent or agents, and good luck to me. And then you just got to do it. And so,
yeah, it's like a one-stop shop for sure. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. And it is a weird thing, the relationship thing, because like, I mean, all of my material has come from truth. And sometimes, there have been a few stories I have exaggerated a little on, or like, added an extra dynamic, but they all like stem from something real, which, is some people allegedly fully just make shit up or take other people's stories from their lives. Like, well, you're not a comedian, I'll tell that story. But like, it is interesting meeting people, and that it always is in the back of my head of like wondering who they're expecting based on what they've seen on stage, because it's not that it's not, it is me on stage. In fact, it's probably the most, like when I'm on stage and I'm really in, I guess, kind of like when my best sets, I feel like I'm in flow, which is a very like dorky woo woo thing. But
no, I get it completely. I do public speaking, present. And to a small degree, I understand.
Yeah, when you're just really present in the thing you love doing, it's just sort of, so it's not that it's, nothing's more upsetting than when someone's like, I love that character you do on stage. And I'm like, oh, that is painfully.
That's dark. That's
yeah. Oh yeah, the character. But, it's the biggest, most energetic version of myself. And like,
and that's who people like, oh, that's who she is. I can't wait to meet her and be like, engage with that person. And they don't know me from Adam. So there's like 17 things that are going on.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, I I left all my energy on stage. I'm not gonna go party with you. I'm tired. Yeah. Or just like people extrapolate one story and and it's great. I love the feeling of, feeling like, when people feel really connected because of something. I think it's cool that we have that, but it is funny that people, I think, forget that you don't know them at all. That they're
I honestly, and I'm a pretty thoughtful guy, and I think about a lot of introspective things. But until I saw that Ethan Hawke interview, I'm like, oh my God, I never thought of it in those terms. And I'm quite sure if I walked up to Ethan Hawke, I would immediately throw a line at him. But now thinking about that now, it's like, no, you just got to be some guy.
Yeah. And it's just like, and even if I think even someone's like trying to like keep that in mind, you still have already formed this idea of who you think this person's going to be, which is just so funny. And it's an interesting dynamic, but it's kind of the, comes with the territory, just like, I don't know.
To wit. So in preparation for our conversation today, I downloaded a couple previous episodes of your podcast. I listened to one from years ago with Jeff Arcuri, who I
love Jeff.
Oh, yeah, no, I have tickets to him in December. I'm really, really excited to go see him.
Oh my God,
but
yes.
In our pre-conversation, you were very thoughtful, be like, what do you not want to talk about? And I was like, well, I'm trying to be a businessman out here. So like, if we could keep it like mostly PG-13.
Yeah,
that's
like, how's the heroin? Like,
yeah, and we're like, we'll talk about the heroin later. So we have this conversation. Then I listened to the Jeff Arcuri episode. I don't know if you remember that, but like
but I need to listen to it because it's blowing up, because he's blowing up. So now it's getting all these, like, everyone's listening to it.
Yeah, so like there's 20 minutes of like some real, like, just right off the bat, it's like, let's talk about anal for 20 minutes on your podcast. You're like, okay, well, I'm excited to talk to Jessica, and like I'm probably going to reference this moment, which I've just done, but like super happy that like we were able to like keep that, and I was the one able to bring that up. So marvelous. That was my pre-relationship going into this.
Oh my God, I love that, and I feel like you couldn't have chosen. Jeff's one of my like best friends in comedy, and he's just
he's killing it on the algorithm with the crowd work, and
I actually like hit him up recently to be like, do you do all your own clips? Can I talk to you about social media? And then I never followed up. He's like, of course, yeah, call me anytime. And then I haven't, so I should do that.
And then I listened to a Steph Tolev episode, and you brought up the idea of like, hey, this is a really dumb idea, going back to our earlier thing, but like, why can't we just go in on a part-time social media person that does this? And I'm in my car being like, this is the best idea I've ever heard. No, this was a year ago. You guys maybe are way ahead of me on this.
We both have social media people now.
There you go.
I forgot about that. That's amazing. Wow, look at time.
There you go. Yeah. And now for me, again, going to the, like, this was 1 week ago. I listened to this conversation that you had 5 years ago and that you had 1 year ago. And so this is all distorted. Like, Nate, I got a social media person a year ago. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, no, and that's so crazy too, because it's just like, and a fun thing I'm doing, and now everyone hearing this will be like, yeah, this is like retroactive, and they'll have already either listened or skipped it. But so I went on a hiatus with this podcast, and I'm relaunching it in November. So I'm stocking up my episodes and going to do a big promo to be like, we're coming back and whatever. And I'm doing a top 40 like re-release of episodes before we launch. And I'm really excited to like re-listen and like see who I was, because it's like, you're a different person. Like, you're
5 is a lot of years.
I was in New York when I was interviewing Jeff, and I think I had just either was about to or had just helped him. Like, we went shopping to pick out his outfit for his first late night TV appearance, and I was like, you want me to help you? I dress like a drunk clown, but okay.
It's the vibe. It's the vibe that he was going for, drunk clown.
Yeah. And it's also just so cool to see how successful he's been. It's just so great to like watch your friends who you've thought are so funny for years, and you see how hard they work to finally like get places.
Yeah, a 5-year overnight success. He also seems nice. This is just like
so nice.
That's wonderful. That's glad to hear.
That's a hill I would die on, is that like, and I haven't met that many comedians who aren't nice. There's a few that are notably just grumps, but he is as nice as he seems.
That's wonderful.
Delightful. I miss him, and I wish he lived in the same city as me. He's really one of my favorite people.
That's awesome.
Man, I'm so glad you're going to see him. You have good taste in comedy. And
I'm really excited. I don't go to a ton of stand-up. I find the social pressure kind of weird. I don't know if I'm just uniquely strange in this way.
Well,
but,
especially with the more that I think some people are more excited about it because of the crowd work clips that are out. And some people see crowd work and they're like, God, not me, please. I just want to.
Yeah, no, this is a whole separate can of worms. And by the way, we can get back to escape rooms anytime. I just love comedy, and like I don't often get to like talk with
we can
famous
talk about
comedians.
anything. I mean, whatever.
When you are at a comedy show as a audience member, particularly when you're there with friends, for me, in my broken brain, there's this weird, I hope that I am enjoying this at the exact same level as everybody else. I don't want to be enjoying it more. I don't want to be enjoying it less. And that's because if so, I'll feel weird and in my own head, it'll diminish the whole thing. That's like, forget even the crowd work, just the pure like neurosis in my brain of like, when I watch.
Am I reacting appropriately with everyone? No, I mean, that's honestly a real thing. And that's why like, that's the hard part about light crowds, or like when a crowd has low energy, then it makes everyone else like afraid to laugh because you don't want to laugh at the one dark joke and be like, oh, I'm the sick fuck in the whole crowd. It is a weird thing too. There's something I really think, maybe it's psychological and just like these theories that comedians have about rooms, but I think that like the closer people sit together, the better they laugh. Like,
I'm sure that's true. I've never thought about that for one moment in my life. Yeah, no, I buy it.
Yeah. And like, well, you don't want to, it's such a real thing. And it becomes a dynamic sometimes with, like people on dates too, of like, I don't want to laugh at the
my God. Can you imagine like a first date to a comedy show? I can think of like, I would rather jump off a bridge.
Oh, I mean, that's a real roll of the dice. I will say, I mean, I would love to know the amount of men who have gotten laid because I was funny from doing that. Like that. You're
doing the world of service,
are just like, oh, I really enjoyed myself. And then they look back and they're like, no, I liked the comedy. This man said nothing. But no, I mean, because if you have fundamentally different senses of humor, you know what, at least maybe if that's going to be like a deal breaker or someone's sense of humor, maybe it's good to just get it out of the way.
That's true. Escape rooms, not for nothing as well. Like we have seen first date escape rooms go like, what do we need to call the police right now? This is
because it's like you're trapped somewhere and realizing you cannot stand someone.
And even people that really can stand each other, like a side of them comes out that whenever somebody's underperforming, or like, you found that 10 minutes ago and didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Like my beloved grandmother, I am going to put you in a home. And these are otherwise loving people. But yeah, so it's a whole, again, with the studies, the amount of, I would say academic scholarship that really could be being performed all and around escape rooms is like, it's going to happen. And we'll look back and be like, I can't believe that went unstudied for as long as it did, or unrefined for as long as it did.
Well, it's like, it would be an interesting case study. I don't even know if it's a case study. There's a part of me, and maybe it's just like the sick, like, I think that as far as relating to someone in relationships, it's like, well, show me what's fucked up about you so I know if I could stand that or not. Part of me is like, an escape room sounds like a great date. Like, this is a person who is maybe like stressed out and under pressure. Can you handle them in there? Like, but
yep.
But it's like, well, should you have to on a first date? I don't know.
No, in my mind immediately goes to, this is business opportunity, Jessica. We make that game. This is the first date
escape room.
Like it's a compression test of just have fun and be like, accelerate to 10 dates and 1 date, and you'll know right away if this is your person or not.
I mean, this is actually like a great idea for a room.
I've never really thought about it that way. I mean, I thought about it from the bad sense, but yep, you're not wrong.
Oh man, like a date escape where it's
yeah,
and at the end you can choose to walk out a
door.
Don't post
together. This. I have to quickly take advantage of this business opportunity before it gets out to the world.
Do we need to cut this out, or you have the option to leave through separate doors?
Oh my God, you are so talented.
And it's just like a no hard feelings.
Oh yeah, you don't even have to use your words. You just remove the conflict after the conflict and just and it's
just understood that like, I'm not ghosting you. This is the end of our courtship.
Yeah,
we're not
no harm, no foul. That's why we came here in the first place.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly kind of fun, and I feel like would make it easier to like laugh about a situation if you're like, well, we did our thing.
Yeah.
Damn it. This is actually
in
a
or-
really good idea.
In order to get out of the room, like you have to demonstrate that you've deleted their number from your phone, and then
Yeah.
like the door unlocks, and then you get out.
And then you leave and you block the number as well.
Mhm.
That's, I love it. It should at least be the premise for a reality TV show, if nothing else.
Oh my God, they keep coming, the hits.
I'm pitching this.
Please loop me in.
We're doing this, of course.
Yeah. We haven't talked about this. I actually have stepped away from Puzzle Break. I'm the co-founder, but I'm no longer the CEO.
So you're just retired.
Semi-retired.
Semi-retired.
I don't really know what's next. Turns out I didn't know what was next until this conversation, Jessica. Turns out it's getting involved in the production of this reality program with this Datascape, as we're calling it. By the way, this is all. Go ahead.
They did The Floor is Lava was a show.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, this is
I'm like really like this is a show.
Well, we're not like you might you don't know me, but like this isn't a bit that I'm doing right now. Jessica, this is a very solid idea that in a world which any viewer of this is like, I am a television executive. Let's get this going. You contact both Jessica and myself.
Yes.
We'll figure it out. We'll get it.
Look,
moving.
I have a pitch meeting for Unscripted tomorrow. I will just throw this idea out there, and
I'm available to help produce.
Yeah. You might be hearing from me. And if you're listening to this, it already went through. So you can't take it.
Yeah,
The show's
like,
already happening. And it might be by the time
it's
this comes out.
It's on Netflix for 1.5 seasons. We got canceled, but we got rich along the way.
Yeah. Unfortunately, someone used a racial slur in the middle of the escape room, and we didn't plan for that, so we had to pull the plug.
They listened to your podcast with Jeff 5 years ago, and everyone has been canceled.
Man, do you have any aside from our hit TV series that's coming down the pipeline? Do you have any ideas of what you might want to do next?
Well, it's difficult to so like I really rose colored the whole COVID thing. Like, yeah, we had online games and it was great. We all got rich and it was amazing. There was emotional roller coaster as we brought back the in-person stuff. We're doing the virtual, we're doing portable, we're doing corporate team building, we're doing consumer stuff. I'm worrying about search engine optimization. I was ready to explode. Like I had been doing it for 10 years and it was so hard and
you're burnt out.
I was really burnt out. So right now we're like 1 month out from my sabbatical, we'll call it. And so right now I'm very focused on a lot of video games, Jessica, and just some travel. And no, the idea of doing anything professionally right now sounds horrible. I really, truly never want to work ever again. However, it's been a month and like it's hard to fill the hours, and it's going to like the urges grow. So I don't know
something at least to like for the creative outlet or.
No, my desperate hope is that after this, you and I can become good friends, and as well as your viewership, and like something reveals itself to me as like, yep, no, and like Datascape bit/not bit notwithstanding, I really don't know, but it was a real hard journey for 10 years, and I'm pretty excited to take a little bit of a break.
I mean, congratulations on getting to a point where you're able to take a break. That's so hard for some people are just waiting for that moment, and it's easy to be like, you just got to give it to yourself. But we live in a capitalist society where it's like, yeah, it's fun, but I have a house or whatever. So it's nice to get to a place where you can
every day.
Yeah, it turns out people never stop wanting your money. God help us. Okay. We have a few more minutes, and I want to do like one more escape room question and then just some fun things from your survey, or maybe not fun, but like interesting stuff. Sure. Do you have a favorite escape room?
Oh man, they're mine. The cop out answer is mine. We on Royal Caribbean ships have a variety of rooms. Some of them are permanent installations that are like better than you will find in Disney. They are just true like triumphs of everybody working. And we have a couple of Apollo games that we've recreated Mission Control from Houston in like 1969.
Oh, I love this already.
With surgical accuracy, but like made a game of it, and it's got like the climax of this game is something that like it was so good that we have begun copying ourselves and just inserting this into other things. And so I would say our Apollo games they are on a couple of the, I want to say, Oasis class ships on Royal Caribbean. I'm afraid I couldn't tell you exactly which ones.
Damn it.
But,
I'm gonna have to look into it because now I'm gonna have to go on a cruise just so I can do this.
Yeah,
game.
and like some of our games are not full, like to manage expectations. Some of them are incredible triumphs. Some of them are just little pop-up things you do at the bar. But I think the Apollo game is our
I love this. Are
Apex.
you a big like astronomy fan? Like a big
Yeah, I mean, you got
Oh, I didn't even look at that.
no. I recognize my lighting
I have
is
one of those
terrible.
too.
Yeah,
it is a little. Don't worry, I'm gonna take it up in post.
Okay, thank you.
But,
It's just the sun.
I have one of those too from. I think I got it at Johnson Space Center, but I don't remember where.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that was Royal Caribbean. They're like, we're doing the head of entertainment there is like, we're doing an Apollo game, and we're like, great, that sounds so much fun. And so yeah, I'm a nerd of all. There's nothing that you could say, are you a nerd about X? And the answer is yeah. So yes. Space is one of the many things.
I love this. Really like. And in your survey, two things. You mentioned you have an autoimmune disorder that prevents you from drinking alcohol. What? I suffer from
psoriasis. Sorry, you were cut you off. Yeah.
No, okay. And does alcohol like bring that out? Is that your like trigger?
Among other unknown things. Psoriasis is a crazily unsolved problem. You go to the doctor and they're like, here's some salts and some like, let's look at your
weird
chakras.
Cream maybe.
Yeah. That like, that some scientist said might work in the 70s. And like it causes rheumatoid arthritis and all kinds of like, oh, well, yeah. So you get it.
So I'm with you. Yeah.
And like, I live in a time now where marijuana is like, it's like legal and super acceptable. And does not trigger.
You're in the future when I'm
it's incredible over here in 2023. And so you go to the store, you pay a criminally low money for a marijuana product that is way better than booze in every single way. And it is like whenever people go out to bars, they'll step out and have a puff, and it's way better. If anyone's looking for life coach from Nate, it's marijuana's top of my list for things to get around your psoriasis.
That's so funny. And how long did it take you to figure out like, oh, alcohol? Like, did you just quit drinking alcohol and then it went away and it was just a coincidence? Or did you like find it as a means to like, what else can I try to do to get rid of the psoriasis?
Well, I drank pretty infrequently. I was, in college to be like, wow, it's Friday. Like we're going to go crazy on Friday. But like no other times, just like there will be
experiences in college.
Well, yeah. Well, it wasn't a steady stream of booze. It was like now, because I went to a really hard college, and like now it's a celebratory time, and it was pretty immediately. I didn't develop psoriasis until I was in my 20s.
Oh, so it was like you started drinking and then like it appeared.
I couldn't tell you if like what one followed the other, but it was pretty clear that like whenever on Fridays be like, oh, this thing that has started kind of happening is significantly worse whenever I have this booze. And so like there's stuff like with tomatoes, and man, I eat trash. I just eat the worst diet. I have a terrible lifestyle. Booze is a very easy thing for me to cut out. It does a lot of work, but there's so much more that I could be doing, I'm not doing. And so I just whine about it in surveys.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I feel you on that. I just, for the 800th time in my life, restarted autoimmune protocol diet. Cause I'm like,
so like no tomatoes, what you do?
Yeah, it's like a strict paleo. It's like paleo. So like no grains, but also no tomatoes, no sugar, like no processed sugars, no.
That's so much
nuts,
fun. Good
no
for you.
Eggs. It's hell, but we'll see. You
probably look fantastic. I've tried that stuff selectively, and it does naturally follow that. Oh my God, I do feel way better and look way better, but life is miserable. So there's
but all the joy is gone because all I think about is pizza. And then there was a theme throughout your survey about no, maybe it wasn't a theme, I guess, but you wrote about under the addiction thing. I ask everyone, do you have any addictions? Because it's just like, tell me what.
I don't remember at all when I wrote this.
You
I'm
wrote
very scared.
Diet Pepsi.
Oh yeah.
And I just want to know, is that true? And why Diet Pepsi over Diet Coke?
Okay, great. Well, buckle up for another 45 minutes of conversation. First of all, I've owing to the trash diet of it all, I've struggled with my weight my whole life. And in college, I was drinking, I don't know how many just sugared sodas relentlessly. And I couldn't tell you the catalyst, but I'm like, this is so many calories. It's just so many calories. And every, forget the voodoo science of psoriasis. Every diet in the world is based on a caloric deficit. So it's like, I'm just going to suck it up. I'm not going to drink water because I don't frankly enjoy
that's
water.
Disgusting. Yeah.
It's pretty filthy. Thank you for appreciating it. So I switched to diet and it was gross, but I just grew used to it. And like, I lost a ton of weight. Surprise, surprise. But then it became this thing where like, I can't go to water because that's just a bridge too far for me.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go back to regular Coke because I don't want to weigh 400 pounds. So I just drink diet sodas. And I find Diet Coke to be a little bit bitter. And other than at, again, famously, McDonald's has like the true platonic ideal of Coke products. Diet Coke at McDonald's is truly fantastic.
Oh yeah. I mean, from a fountain, forget it.
Yeah, no, it's spiritual. I understand why people are deeply religious whenever you
about it. Yeah, you're like, I found God.
Yeah,
and it was $1 for any size for a while.
That frankly might be it's deeply confusing. Tragically, I don't know if you've heard the tragic news, but the self-serve things at McDonald's are going away in a couple of years, and I'm like beginning to come to terms with this. I'm hoping that enough viewers here, if you took away nothing from this podcast, number one is that don't be afraid to look stupid. Number two, write your local McDonald's congressperson and get them to keep this fountain sodas.
Demand the fountain sodas remain.
Yeah, this is America, damn it. So anyway, I like when you go to the store, Diet Pepsi is like the right balance of this is not as bitter. Obviously, it's what I do instead of water because my willpower right there.
I love that. All right.
Right here is a refrigerator. I've unplugged it so it doesn't make a ton of refrigerator noise for our podcast, but it is pretty full of Diet Pepsi right now. Just so I have immediate access.
Warm Diet Pepsi.
I'm going to play. Yeah. There's nothing finer than a bottled warm Diet Pepsi on a wonderful evening in the autumn.
All right. Well, I love that. I'm a Diet Coke girl myself, but I clearly like things bitter. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Where can people find you unless you don't want them to? Yeah.
So normally I would do all the business shilling. But like, I just say, find me on, I don't know, LinkedIn. That's that dumpster fire of a place. Or, I'm on Twitter. I have about 8 followers, Guy from Tomorrow on Twitter. But yeah, just LinkedIn, come say hello. I'm between stuff right now. If anyone wants to make something cool.
All right. Well,
after we're done with Datascape.
After Datascape is ended, then you guys can do your business ventures with Nate. But until then, back off.
Dibs.
We have a show to create.
We have an empire to build. This is a franchise. This isn't just a thing. It's going to be a big thing.
I'm very excited about this, actually. It was wonderful talking to you. I will connect with you on LinkedIn and wherever else and all the places. And everyone go to your local escape room. Enjoy it. And thanks for stopping by. Bye, idiots.
Thanks, idiots.